thinking to myself, like, structurally, if I'm a libertarian or a conservative and we want to change the country, we have to win an election.
The primary debates were legendary. That's some of Trump's best highlights of him being on the debate stage was during those primaries where he was just roasting Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Scott Bassett. Dude was literally on fire almost every interview, and it was trending everywhere. That's really when politics took another leap when Trump entered politics. He entered the political sphere and was running for president. That's when politics became more of pop culture right now. And then you have this like uprising of like populists from left and from right. You know, I would consider myself a right populist too as well, a right-wing populist. You know, when we got like a bunch of left-wing populists. We don't have like the usual like moderates, the left, the right. You know, the left is more fearful of like guys like Zoran Mondani, AOC, the Bernie Sanders types, you know, the socialist Democrats, as they call themselves. And you got the guys on like the right, you know, right, far right, dissident right, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to call. You know, someone call us the Third Reich. It's not even true. You know, no one's really pushing for Nazism. More like American sovereignty. More like actually pushing for like America to be an actual sovereign country. This is what the populist right is. You know, they call this like the woke right. James Lindsay calls it the woke right, but I mean, the guy's an idiot, and he overuses that word, and right now that word has lost any type of value into it. Like calling it woke right is just pretty much just like the woke left is hits more on the nail. The woke right, I mean, like, bro, he uses it so much on X. The problem is now it's lost so much power into it. It's like now, just like you look at it, it's like you roll your eyes, like, come on, he's still saying woke right. Get over it, bro.
If you want to win elections, you have to bypass the media. I sort of have this realization that the media was really standing in the way. They were the problem. And I had this realization that all the conservatives and Republicans up to that point were afraid to take on the media. They, like Mitt Romney, would cower before them and were so apologetic and so weak. And so initially I said, you know, I actually don't ideologically agree with Trump at all, but he will destroy the liberal media, or at least their monopoly on thought and opinion,
yes.
And then a breakthrough can occur. So that was kind of the first hump. And I said, you know, I could get behind Trump because he's a winner. He'll win for our side. And that was kind of the first big thing. And then, as I listened to him more and more, his speeches and his rhetoric, I started to think about immigration.
Which you hadn't really considered before?
Never. And the reason why is because I was from a 95% white suburb. So the diversity had not really reached my corner of Chicago yet. Me and my family, not so much my family that grew up in the city, but growing up in the suburbs, I was insulated from that. So it was just not even, it's actually, you're going to love this. I don't know if I've ever even said this on an interview before. I was listening to Mark Levin's show. This goes to show how normie I was.
Actually?
I listened to him every day.
You listen to Mark Levin every day?
In high school, yes.
Wow.
I was a fan. I loved his show, and I actually liked how...
Mark Levin did not like that line one bit. When he heard Nick Fuentes was literally radicalized because of him, it kind of even made him even go harder on like his criticisms and attacks on Nick, honestly speaking. It's so fucking funny. Like, he's still fuming even to this day on his radio show. Every day he has something to say about Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes. He calls Nick Little Adolf. And Nick and Adolf are about the same size. I'm like, Adolf is not even that fucking short. It's so fucking funny. Like, and now we got people calling into Mark Levin's show and like trolling him, rage baiting him, and he's like, just, you know what, he wants to show off exactly people that are like attacking him or whatever, and saying that this is exactly what they do. This is exactly what they do to us. You know, him going off and says we would take names, basically implying that, you know, he's confirming that yes, a bunch of people, high-ranking people that are commentators that are also Jewish, go out their way to cancel people that they don't want having voices at all. You know, it's despicable, quite frankly. So, you know, when Mark heard Nick say that he was radicalized listening to him, it just basically kind of just pissed him off even more. It says, says that if he was listening to me, he would never become a Nazi. Ludicrous. It's crazy.
He was kind of obnoxious and mean to his callers. Yeah. Vicious. And I like that. I thought that was funny. But I'll never forget one show. He goes live and he says, America's becoming a majority non-white country. Does anybody think that's a good idea? And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that actually doesn't sound so good. I didn't really even think that America's becoming majority minority like that.
And so you were radicalized on race by Mark Levin?
Yes.
Are you making that up? Or that's
a real story.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. He planted the seed, at least. And then I saw a graphic on 4chan or Twitter, and I'm sure you've seen something similar. It said, this is what the map looks like, the electoral map, if only men vote, if only women vote, if only whites vote, if only non-whites vote. And it became very obvious what the electoral problem is. It's demographics. These immigrants are coming here. They're going to turn Texas blue like they turned California blue.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah, and you look at even the opinion polls. These people don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in the Constitution. The Second Amendment is libertarian. The things that are, and it's American, things that are important to you. They don't understand these things.
That I agree with. Bad enough they come here, they don't assimilate properly. They don't speak the language, and then they take so much government assistance, and then expect the government just to take care of them because they've gave them sanctuary, asylum. Bad enough these people come here and they don't properly assimilate, and then of course the Dems look at them and cater to these people and give these people whatever they want. And these people come here and they literally just spit on the ground that they walk on, and like come up here with so much bravado, so much ego, and feel like America has to cater to them because they're seeking sanctuary here and that they have to be taken care of by the Americans. And I look at that just like, bro, you don't have no regards, no respect for where you're at. You actually have no constitutional right to be here because you're an illegal, first off. Under immigration law, you are a criminal. You deserve to get sent back. That gets me pissed off every time when I talk about immigration, because like these people come here and they don't assimilate properly, and they come here, they don't embrace Americanism. They come here still with their country's ideology and come in here to try to spread it here in America. People sit here and say Trump is doing great, and like he just announced just last night that he wants to end all third world immigration, which is a great thing. But then he approved 500,000, was it 600,000 more Chinese nationals to come into America. It's like I'll believe it when I see it. Whenever we're gonna get rid of immigration, when we stop immigration altogether, I'll believe it when I see it. Till then, I'm not gonna get my hopes up right now. We still have 50 million illegals in this country, probably even more, that need to be deported.
And so I said, that's another political obstacle. You've got the media, you've got immigration. So I'm thinking we're going to vote for Ted Cruz. He's going to be the constitutionalist. We'll vote for Rand Paul. He'll be the libertarian. But what stands in the way of political power for us? It's the media and it's immigration. So I said, we got to get Trump to beat the media, build the wall, deport the illegals. And once we set the country straight, then we can actually have our constitutional republic back. That was kind of the idea. And that's the mindset that I had going into college.
Amazing. So then what happened?
So I go to college, and I'm just, at that point, a huge Trump supporter. And you got to understand, for my generation, so I was 18. I turned 18 in August 2016. And to us, Trump...
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, because we're like the first generation that was influenced by Trump coming of age in that moment.
No, I say it's amazing because when you're living in something, you don't appreciate its full significance. But to be 18 in August of 2016, so this really is, as you're forming your views and really yourself.
Yes.
In the middle of this.
We'll admit that we are not the most disciplined snackers.